Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to Northtown News Magazine with Avi Myers.
For the identity of the real Marty Levinson, please stay tuned for the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers. I did that good. Only one so far.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. You'll be able to see all the shows from the last 7 years, about 250,000 watched. Thank you so much. Community policing, we'd like to welcome our new police commander, Thomas Waldera. We wish him many years of good success. Community policing, you can find the meetings for the 24th District, which is Rogers Park, West Rogers Park, part of Edgewater, at www.caps.org, caps.org. Caps24.org. Sonny Hirsch, who just gave me that little tidbit there, is in his spare time, the chairman of the 24th District of the chairman of the advisory committee of the 24th District. He runs the website, caps24.org. If you see graffiti, take a picture, go to the site, email it, and the cops will see it firsthand. They'll go directly to them, and they'll be able to tell if it's a gang or some. Well, what tagger means is tagger is a vandal artist. You know, somebody who just wants to tag your, like to have his little art on your building, but may not be affiliated with the gang. Anyway, down to business. As you know, over the years, it's been our pleasure to cover in great detail the Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, or actually the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Chicago. They changed the name more than once. We've been down to the deep tunnel a couple of times. And frankly, our favorite commissioner these days is, and who, by the way, actually is the owner of the building where you can find Marty together with Frank's Barbershop in Wildwood, and that is Frank Avila. How are you doing, Mr. Commissioner?
Good, Ari.
And by the way, we like to say that of all the people you are actually a licensed engineer. You actually know something about the business.
Well, I graduated college as a civil engineer from the University of Illinois in 1961. So I've been practicing engineering over 50 years now.
Very good. And, it's interesting because the first time we had you on the air, it was so interesting. You're so knowledgeable. A lot of times politicians don't know what they're talking about. Well, a lot of times. but you actually understand the plumbing, mechanics, engineering, and all the rest of it that goes on within the water reclamation.
Well, I started at the district, and we called it the district. Before it used to be called the Metropolitan Sanitary District of Greater Chicago.
I remember that.
And then they changed the name to Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago.
Yeah.
I prefer the older name, sanitary. They know that we treat poop and urine. So I mean, the new name we have now, no one knows really what we do. They think we're the water filtration plant.
Yeah, that's true. You're not the guy speeding drinking water, and you're not the guys to complain to for the water bill.
That's true. Well, you see, we're not the top end, we're the bottom end.
Right. We flush, you sanitize.
Right.
So in any event, so tell us about what's going on over there. I mean, the deep tunnel's projected for many years down the road, but there's been a lot of recent flooding and all that.
Oh yes, the deep tunnel is completed. It's 109 miles.
Yeah.
It holds 2.3 billion gallons of water. But this last rain that we had in April 18 and 19 of 2013, in those 2 days we had a little over 5 inches of rain. 1 inch of rain is 15 billion gallons.
So we're talking 75 billion gallons of rain.
75 billion gallons of rain, yes.
And even when the deep tunnel's finished, it won't even take a third of that.
Well, the deep tunnel is finished.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. The reservoirs.
I keep making
that mistake.
Right. Once the reservoirs are completed, totally it's going to hold 17 billion gallons.
Right, which is basically a little over an inch, which is pretty good.
Yes, pretty good. And last week we took a tour group. We took 2 buses down into the reservoir in Thornton. And they were amazed. They had the 2 tour buses, and it went down 300 feet. And we explained to them what we were doing in that Thornton reservoir.
That's exactly where Sonny and I were filming.
Oh yeah, and anyone out there that your audience,
Yeah.
if they want to go on a tour of the Water Reclamation District, they could call our Public Relations Department and arrange a tour similar to what we did last week. We went and visited at Calumet plant. We visited the pumping station, showing how they pump the raw sewage or the wastewater from the deep tunnel through the plant, and then after that they'll go toward the reservoir.
It is fascinating.
Oh, yes,
It really is.
Yes. And that's Thornton Reservoir. We're building one more out in McCook also, reservoir.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, well, we were there before it was connected, so we got to spending a day 300 feet underground is almost like going outer space.
And then you have that film on your library, right?
As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. I keep forgetting to do that. It is our by far most watched show.
Yes.
And we're able to find out one of the cool things about YouTube. Yeah. You can see where it's been watched and where the links come from.
Yes.
It's been seen in almost every single country on Earth. And the links are from engineering libraries all over the world.
Yes.
It's a staple. I mean, there are engineering libraries where it's been seen over 1,000 times in an individual library.
Yeah, and I would recommend any school, grammar school, high school, college that don't have the opportunity to tour what they just shot in that deep tunnel to watch that movie and just to be amazed on how they constructed that deep tunnel, because the same system that they used there, they use it up to build the channel between England and France. Now you didn't go film that there.
No, we
take
didn't
a trip over to England and
but
France.
They basically, but you're right. The tunnel under, they actually came here to study how it was being done here, and this was the model for them.
Yes. And also a lot of people don't realize that when we did our channels, like the Chicago Center and Ship Canal and the Cal-Sac Channel, the same equipment and method that we did the channels here, they used that to build the Panama Canal.
Wow.
So here in the Chicagoland area are engineering feats that we do here, and they implement it throughout the world.
Which is very cool. I mean, it's funny because I've always thought that, that the Water Reclamation District, at least the 20 years I've been covering it, has been the best run agency around.
Oh yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that also, and I'm glad you mentioned about the water filtration plant and our facility, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, Greater Chicago. Two separate. We're not part of the city. We're not part of the state. We're not part of the Cook County government. We're a separate agency, and our mission at the district is to protect our water supply, Lake Michigan. And we need to protect our water supply because as a human being, we will not survive without drinking water. Now, I think you drink, how many gallons of water do you drink every day?
At least, by the way, close to a gallon. I'm a big water person.
Right. See, so we have in our body about 67% of water. An elephant or a chicken has 67% of water. So creatures has the same percentage of water as a human being. But we're all creatures.
Yeah.
We're all creatures. So we have to protect our water supply. Next, what we do is that we treat poop and urine. And the reason why, when I go give talks and I say we treat wastewater, the kids say, what is wastewater? So my wife said, Sherry, some of the first words that we taught our kids was poop. so that's when I changed my word. Instead of wastewater, is that we treat human waste.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we'll have treated 550 tons of that a day.
Wow.
And that's fertilizer that we will give to farmers to grow livestock feed. We'll give it to a golf course, baseball fields, to topsoil. For any type of use, we go to the park districts. They love our treated poop. They love it because everyone's talking about climate change.
Yeah.
And when they use our fertilizer, your fertilizer that you give us, that the plants that is grown by our fertilizer absorbs the CO2, and that's what's affecting the climate change. The commercial type of fertilizer does not absorb as much CO2 as your poop.
Interesting.
Your treated poop. So we're all helping climate change. So we recommend that you eat a lot, you drink a lot, give us your supply, we'll treat it, and we'll spread it out to the environment.
I love the way you put that. You know what? I've got 120 pounds of commercial fertilizer out back. I think I'll go over to. Well, you know, the Terry O'Brien plant is only about a mile and a half from here.
Yes.
You know, maybe I'll see if I can go pick up some poop
Yeah,
from him.
and you know, I'm glad you mentioned the O'Brien's plant.
Yeah.
It's up there on the corner of McCormick Boulevard and Howard Street, and we have 7 plants here in the Cook County area. 3 of them are considered the largest in North America, and Terrence O'Brien's plant is one of the 3 that's considered one of the largest in North America. And Stickney, up on the southwest side of Cook County, is the largest in the world.
I still remember when, before environmental changes made it smell better, when I used to go to Hawthorne or Sportsman's Park and the wind blew the wrong way, the horse manure was the least of the problem. But by the way, one of the things I'm glad you mentioned too, if people actually want to get a really interesting view, cheap, of, I never, even though I live near Howard and McCormick,
yes,
I've driven by there a million times and even walked by it. I've never understood how big it is until I took the Skokie Swift.
Yes.
The Skokie Swift tracks go right over it. And if you've been in an airplane and you see these round things that look like swimming pools,
yes,
those are, and you understand better than I do, but those are what are used to cleanse the water.
Yeah, and that's a final treatment of when we, as a human being, when we eliminate our waste, it's solid and liquid.
Yeah.
Poop and urine. When we treat it, at the end, it's solid and liquid. As I mentioned, the solid is a fertilizer. Because we're so intelligent and high class, we don't call it treated poop. We call it biosolids. That's what we call it. But who understands biosolids? See, but the treated liquid is that we call it effluent, and that's at the final stage of treatment. And then on the treated liquid side, we discharge that into the North Shore Channel.
Ah.
Right there, and that plant, the O'Brien's plant, is being about a $1 billion capital expenditure going on in that plant right now.
Very good, and that'll help get us our water cleaner and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Among other things. I do remember the. We've got a couple minutes left. What else would you like to talk about?
Well, I just like to say, our flooding and our rain that's been coming down in April. We're filming the show today, Tuesday, May 22nd.
Right.
And the last 2-3 hours, we had an intense rain coming down, and the streets are flooded, and maybe some homes are going to get flooded also.
It's interesting. Sonny's got a weather station in his backyard I can access on the web.
Yeah.
We've had close to 2 inches of rain in the last 24 hours in this area.
2 inches, and remember I mentioned 1 inch of rain is 15 billion gallons.
So that's
15,
30
so we had
billion gallons of water.
30 in this last couple hours, and that's what it said on the weather station.
Well, actually, he actually has a weather station in his backyard.
Oh, okay.
So one of those things you can buy for like a few hundred bucks at Home Depot or Lowe's or something.
Sure.
And by the way, as you came in today, and as did our other guests, we like to call it the either the Myers Swamp or the moat in front because of the way the sidewalk.
Yes. And then some basements will get flooded.
Yeah.
Some may not, and some may get that sewer back up also into their basement. And then there's a lot of things that people could do. But one day when I came home, and I stayed home, my kids, I used to take my kids into Boy Scout camp. And we had the most intense rain in August. And for the last 12 years of that period of time, my basement used to get flooded 2 feet, 3 feet of water.
Wow.
So when my kids were out of Boy Scouts, I was home that one day, that rain, intense rain, and I went down in the basement. I saw 2 foot of water in my basement, and I said, Sherry, look at this, what's happening? He says, Frank, this has been going on for 12 years. Right after that, I went out and I installed a flood control in my basement, and it cost me $4,000. So one of the best methods to preventing the sewer backup into your basement, and it cost me money, $4,000. I would imagine what it costs now in 2013. It may cost about $8,000 maybe to put in that sewer backup, but I think that's about the one of the only ways to prevent that sewer backup from coming into your
And
basement.
it could help, and just because he's a commissioner doesn't mean he's immune from this either. At this point, we're out of time. I want to thank you very much, Commissioner Frank Avila. Want to wish you luck in all your endeavors. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I know I'm forgetting to do something here. But anyway, we'll see you next week. Be well. Bye-bye.